Okay, our lesson for today is number 8, and it's on Austria. We are off to Austria, the birthplace of many famous composers and a rich heritage of culture. Grab that unlimited train pass we picked up and hopped on the other day from Switzerland to Austria. We'll be traveling through beautiful mountainous countryside to finally reach our destination. I am so excited about everything we will learn here today. Austria is home to many discoveries that have altered our world in large ways. Have you ever watched the Weather Channel and seen the bright colors changing and moving across the screen? These weather patterns are tracked using a Doppler radar, named after Australian Christian Doppler. He discovered the Doppler effect, which is now used around the world to track storms. This technology is largely why we have weather warnings that can help us prepare for big storms like hurricanes, tornadoes, or even severe snowstorms. This discovery is responsible for saving thousands of lives from natural disasters. Another important discovery was made by an Australian biologist who was the first to discover blood types and the rhesus factor in blood transfusion. The discovery made it possible to give patients blood without it potentially fatal for them. Before understanding how blood types interacted with each other, blood transfusions were not always helpful in saving lives. There are many people today that would not be alive if successful blood transfusions had not been available. The quick facts about Austria are it has 8.97 million people. The government type is representative democracy. The size of the country is 32,386 miles. The capital city is Vienna. The official language is German. And the landmark is Australian Eisenwelt Caves. An activity break would be to look up pictures or videos of a Doppler radar. Check the Weather Channel to see the screen where the weather patterns are tracked. If there's a storm near you, check back every few hours to see its progress. Were the predictions made by the Doppler radar accurate? Land and animals. Austria is a land of various landforms and animals. The Alps extend into Austria, with the highest mountain peaks in the western part of the country, while the eastern part of the country has substantial lowlands that are home to rich agriculture. The mountains that cover about 70% of the country are home to many different types of wildlife. If you go on a hike in either mountains or lowlands of Austria, you might see a black eagle. This bird is considered the national animal of Austria. It is featured on the Austrian coat of arms as a symbol of strength and sovereignty. These birds are birds of prey, like all eagles, and love to hunt bats, rats, squirrels, frogs, reptiles, and other small animals. They stand about 27 inches to 32 inches tall. They can weigh as much as 3.5 pounds and can fly at speeds of 43 miles per hour or more. Want to know more about Austrian inventions? Austria was the first country to introduce the idea of government-issue postcard in 1869. These cards were not the fancy picture postcards that we have today, but were just plain cards with a stamp included to be put in the mail. It was such a successful invention that the British adopted the idea just 1 year later. An Australian inventor created the world's first working ship propeller, making it possible to power a ship with steam rather than a sail. Slow motion was invented by an Australian priest. He patented his device in 1904. Food. A trip through Austria wouldn't be the same without sampling some local foods. I would love to experience authentic Wiener Schnitzel made in Wien, I guess. In English, we say the capital of Austria is Vienna, but in German, they call the city Wien. Wien a Schnitzel is basically breaded or encrusted meat. Wiener Schnitzel is a breaded and fried veal cutlet, meat from a calf from Vienna. Another famous Australian food is Sacher Torte. This famous cake was invented by Franz Sacher, an apprentice chef in 1832. It is a delicious chocolate cake with apricot jam and almond meal. It is so famous that it has its own day. Every year, December 5th, is Sacher Torte Day. Franz Sacher's story and cake is a good reminder that you can make a difference or invent something new even when you're a young person. Transportation. If you look at a map of Europe, you will notice that Austria is almost in the middle of the continent. This is a unique position that has encouraged the growth of the rail network within the country. It is known for having one or more advanced railway networks on the continent, and it is an essential part of connecting the Western and Eastern European countries, both for trade and the transportation of people. Austrian industry is a world leader in technology that makes controlling train networks be safe and efficient. Famous landmark is the Eisenwelt caves. It's in an alpine cave labyrinth near Salzburg. It has a total length of more than 25 miles and is the largest accessible ice cave system in the world. The ice cave has been formed over many years and has unique structures that allows air to move through the cave. The temperature inside the mountain is cooler or warmer than the outside air. In the winter, when the cave is warmer than outside, the cold air comes into the cave to keep it below freezing temperatures. In the spring, the melting water that drips into the cave is frozen, forming beautiful ice sculptures inside the ice system. And I would just encourage you to look these Eisenwelt caves up because they have some YouTube videos that really show the neat ice caves. It's kind of cool. It's a long ways up the mountain. And I see these older people going up this mountain, but it's a long haul. But it looks like it would be a fun place to visit. History and culture. Austria has a long history of strong innovation and technology. This began as far back as the 13th century when the Habsburg dynasty came to power in Austria. This family was a ruling family for 640 years, and over the years they encouraged and contributed to many innovations and discoveries. Vienna University was founded less than 100 years after this family took power in Austria. This dynasty was deeply invested in the arts and provided patronage or financial support to some of the greatest musical geniuses in history. The patrons of both Mozart and Beethoven come from the Habsburg dynasty. This was a culture that they encouraged in their empire, and it led to incredible innovation in the arts that is still appreciated to this day. The Habsburg dynasty came to an untimely end in World War I when Emperor Charles was forced to abdicate. Although the dynasty came to an end and their territory shrunk substantially, the groundwork of innovation that they laid has encouraged the strength of the Austrian nation in moving forward with invocations in the 20th and 21st century. And that concludes our lesson 8 on Austria.